This video is going to be quite lengthy. But Odo Ghana, now per se, ote in semwa air koso nasia, Mr. You need to watch it. Now, I hardly tell people, say, watch me video, we are share. But they say you share this video because I am going to look at every single technical aspect of the new Dumsor levy na abano. Ghana for be air trauma. If you follow a year Senate Talks Politics, eswa me posti video or ma tretre a year the Dumsor levy no ma tretre and some eniso ewo ho nti wa will follow our platform maybe and you've seen the video I've posted. But don't worry, so when you answer that video now, I am also going to explain right here. Now, I have say video where I may no, it is adding more flesh. You know my stance on the whole thing. No one wants to pay more taxes. And so I am not happy paying more taxes. But we are going to look into the technicalities of this whole thing. Okay? And then information I answer can in Yamano. Yabehe say at the end of the day, what is going to happen to the Ghanaian? What you say. So don't worry. Stick and stay. Stick and stay. You'd really enjoy this. You'd really be educated on this. Na nini nechi no Bawumia ba bekasa woso Bawumia eka say NDC for eka Ghana for ntro. Now Bawumia nsem a woka we will address Bawumia later. Ba ansa ne beba ababe address Bawumia no. Ye mankrofo nsem ase. Inti no Endrechi ena it was more like a surprise move from Parliament. Ye betia ne say ye say NDC aban. It was surprising because Endrechi Parliament eba live. Ewo a social media. Almost saw live or social media na me hu say I say NDC MPs no dodo na no aba Parliament. Won say normally no na ministers na wo ye NDC MPs no sometimes a normal day in Parliament or momba because of more ministries. Inti enra na Endrechi no na me hu say ministers ni na aba. Ministers ni natinati no makonyum NDC for na yema. So I was like, hey, what is going on? Because it is very, very unusual. E just say bia wo mo be pass mra. Inti na breaking news. You see, hey, NDC 4% mo pass mra bi o. Omo de 1 cedi ebeto every liter so. Inti o hear MPP for ne krana. Say most of them were caught off guard and they didn't know what was going on. Tiendra NDC for the omo numbers no muscle omo way through and omo pass mra no. So now it has become the topic, especially for the MPP on social media. And levy, Dumsor levy, levy, Dumsor levy, and all that. Now, may read the enkrata of explanation. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Babe Kasawa hon. Yebe video nonson sema waka. But may read the enkrata atu forcing or the by Parliament. Wababe kinkai Parliament so. What you say? Or they passes ambrano. Me pese mi dinkan read. Now, I say Energy Sector Levies Amendment Bill 2025 Memorandum. I say the object of the bill is to amend the Energy Sector Levies Act 2025, Act 1135, to increase the rate of the energy sector shortfall and debt repayment levy in order to make additional revenue to support the payment of energy sector shortfalls, reduce energy sector legacy debts, and stabilize power supply. Or say, the power sector is the biggest economic and physical risk presently faced by the country. This could lead to major crisis if it is not addressed. The challenges in the energy sector are quite enormous, emanating from debt, shortfalls, insufficient gas supply, and inefficiencies. Or say, the total energy sector debt at the end of March 2025 stands at 3.1 billion United States dollars. The debt includes money owed to independent power producers, state-owned enterprises, and fuel suppliers. Inti what energy sector debt no? No. Me explain here the energy sector debt. I will explain here again. But in simple forms no, omo producing yam kania ne Ghana for no. MPP time yenti ankrofo ika. Inti ende nkrofo ni sika. Womo de be ye adwuma nti ya hwe ne ye Ghana Dumsor besi nti sa Dumsor tax ya ebe ekotua sa aka no eka sen ye de nkrofo $3.1 billion $3.1 billion ekanono. Also, due to non-payment of bills owed to ENI and CAPA, the World Bank International Development Association guarantee of $512 million United States dollars and the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation guarantee of $120 million United States dollars were completely drawn down. As a result of this, the government is required to find an additional amount of $632 million United States dollars to restore these guarantees. In addition to the above, a minimum of $3.7 billion United States dollars is also needed to clean up the overall energy sector indebtedness. Furthermore, the electricity sector of the country has experienced a significant shift over the years, with the country now heavily reliant on thermal power generation to supplement hydroelectric sources. The cost of liquid fuel to power the thermal power generation plants is not included in the current electricity tariffs build-up, resulting in a significant revenue shortfall for the procurement of liquid fuel. Now, or say, unse one thing, and say, Ayana Ghana, Sikebi Wawa, ye partners be at the boying, what ya say, ye pro America for Ayana sometimes the energy sector no almost Sikebia wamo de boying, Ayana World Bank for, and so Sikebia wamo de boying. Na esa se e ka na eda ho ninti eye sika bia na nka eda ho a ebe serve as cushion no sika ni na are ni na ahye because e ka no doso enti akwa se wo sika bia odi esi baby se emergency da chi bi hu true bia woni ebe kosa sika ne so na atorenchem bia to ama se chese sika na odi ato se woni hu true a obekoso no atorenchem ato ama sai sika ne kra no andu baby a. Until we've gotten to that point as a country. And then Ghana so wo hwa your power generation no ye free more like hydroelectric. First no na ensue sisi ano ye the thermal enso ababeka ho. Most of the thermal plants no they require liquid fuel. See ye dey generate power. Nini na ye ka. Sa liquid fuel yi any price build up nim. Inti no eno so ye ka bia edaho. Also, furthermore, the electricity sector of the country has experienced a significant shift over the years. I've read that already. Now, I'll say, according to the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, an inclusion of the cost of liquid fuel in the price build-up will lead to an increase in electricity tariffs by over 50%. Government considers that the increment will have a higher negative impact on industry and household incomes. Government will therefore require $1.2 billion United States in 2025 to procure liquid fuel to power generation alone. Inti abande ekani ni na eda ho no to ho. What say because of the new thermal plants are ye de abaninti no. Ye hia fango liquid fuel e de power. PURC a wo mo hwe san no kase. Se ye kase sa fango no yema Ghana ni ntia obia electricity bill ebekoso by 50%. That is say electricity bill at the end of the month o company be now to 100,000 cedis for electricity bill la sisi ano be 1,005. Inti abaye hu say sa de no ebe say companies for Ghana ha ebe ma kaba because companies need to be transfer out to products so ebe ma nyama boya den okrum ha. Inti abaye ka say dabi sa liquid fuel no ne price no yentwen eno no abansi obeteki ba aban na wo take no nini na no in a single year eno car ebe create ama aban eye $1.2 billion. It mind you energy sector e kada hodeda MPP 4 time omo ntiaka which is over 3 billion. Fuel li nso ye de generate new thermal plant here abe and also fuel no 1.2 billion. Nti e kaneba be bomu a e ka da ho over 4 billion. You understand? So this is the finance minister explaining in parliament. Oye no ka say the power sector risks imminent collapse if these unsustainable shortfalls are not resolved, particularly given that the fiscal cannot accommodate the financial needs of the sector. Inti adie we ya abe ya hweni ye ya ye power sector no be collapse because e kana bano enye kaketwa. To help raise additional revenue to fund the needs in the power sector, government is proposing an increase in the energy sector shortfall and debt repayment levy. The impact will be absorbed by the gains made from the strong performance of the cedi. Now, I'm going to explain this as well, don't worry. Into your say yebeye adie we na yenina yenya ahoto so that energy sector na en collapse no aban pese o so levy no ewo ho deda energy sector levy no ewo ho deda basisi an aban pese o increase no inti enye se eye new tax bi aba but na ewo ho deda but aban etum o increase no o see sa increase we no kra no it is not really going to have effect on Ghana for because of the performance of the cedi. And no metras here, obetias here. The reason why they are saying that. So it is not going to have effect because of the performance of the cedi, no. Ghana for kran ye tia ye mfili se ye tia. Now let me explain so you understand. You see, currently in this country, Ghana, unim say ye can't no kware ni nyame animu a the cedi performance and the current price of oil krano e was a Ghana for petrol ayeton krano rate na was a form. Let me show you something. I'm going to show you analysis for those who know say I deal in reading charts and things like this. I'm just going to show you some simple analysis. So this is analysis of a year crude oil, right? This is the weekly chart of crude oil. We are going to go through a simple analysis for people. This is the weekly chart. So for people who know, people who understand how to read charts, you see there's a pattern forming here, head and shoulders. That means the oil, petroleum, or crude oil is currently in a downtrend, right? This is the weekly chart. So crude oil is currently in a downtrend, okay? Head and shoulders pattern. It is currently in the downtrend. Not just say the price of crude oil at top form, okay? You can say crude oil or downtrend. Not just say the price of crude oil at top form. Now, if you go on the daily chart, you see, in order for you to know, say something is in a downtrend, it's very simple. A lower lows and lower highs, right? This is a lower high, right? So let's say the downtrend is starting from here, okay? So this is the daily chart, lower low, lower high. This broke this, so lower low. This is supposed to be a lower high. This is also a lower low, okay? So currently, it will sort of come up and form a lower high, and then maybe continue to form another lower low, okay? Right? So currently, crude oil is in a downtrend, a top form. Now, crude oil no yatono ewo dollars mu. Inti some time ago, okay, and this is explaining atofos in semo awoka say Ghana for yen feeling. No, I want to explain so you understand. Now, some time ago, exactly, Yanfane said 2022, okay, the price of crude oil no na $127. In 2022, the price of crude oil was $128, right? And the price of crude oil is $62. So 3 years ago, crude oil was $128. Today, crude oil is $62. And so the price of crude oil at top form, in dollars at top form. Aside that, and so no, the Ghana cedi is performing better. Inti no krano yamfa ne say Ghana cedi ne performance ni mbemu. Yamfa say Ghana cedi no ewo the same level nanka crude oil no first near ton 120 and then ye ton 60 into price number form. Adi na first ye ton 120 and then we call ye see ye ton 60 cedis. Such as a price number form into crude oil no sana na price neti. And as sisi sana price no at eti. Into se Ghana cedi ensem embe mukrana. Ghana for crude oil no never see a ton low price. Because price never form. The reason why during the tenure of MPP, still yenya that effect ne say during that time no na dollar no air cost through. Even though crude oil price no air ba form no na yes san Ghana cedi no de akwa koto dollar akwa koto a yes san sika bebree. And so Ghanaians didn't really feel the effect. Crude oil no na still ne boarding during the MPP time. We were still buying it a liter about 17 cedis. Right? During MPP4 time. Because the poor performance of the cedi couldn't let us enjoy the benefits from the crude oil. And now many more can say, crude oil price, no, it is in a very favorable place. What you say? Crude oil price, no, baby, I want to form fine. And then the Ghana cedi also is beating the dollar currently. So here Ghana cedi now is even about to enter 9 cedis. Okay? This is the Ghana cedi. This is the chart for the Ghana cedi against the dollar. And I'm showing you all the charts so you understand. So the Ghana cedi is now about to beat, or the Ghana cedi is currently beating the dollar. International say Ghana for double. Intinanka adwinpemuno. See, I say the real effect of crude oil price and the dollar cedi effect no. Ye pese Ghana for filia. Manka me catch say and the sa 12 friend saying 12 cedi a liter na ye to crude oil ne kra no. Ye to oil petrol no 12 cedi a liter no. E was say ba more than that. Or say ba for more than that. But to the enfant say MPP time near to a liter 17. Ne and ye to a liter 12 Not just a Ghana for ye save 15 cedis. Sorry, ye save 5 cedis. Okay, it's a minister somewhere what can I say? Due to the performance of the Ghana cedi ama and the first no nank ye turn 17 and the ye turn 12 no. Due to sa 5 cedis na ye save no. So ye the tax krato so ne ka se sisi an Ghana for ntua 1 cedi per. Still Ghana for be save 4 cedis. Do you understand where the minister is coming from? I hope you get his point. Because a MPP timer Nanka ye to ade no say I mean basically my church what you say let me break it down so you understand. O koto kusia na wo koto no na wo to kusia ba ko 5 cedis embre bi bae na wo to kusia ba ko 5 cedis na sa kusia na wo to no 5 cedis no obi fufura ba be store no e ma afi wo se o kusia na me ton wo store we mu no sisi an ma teso me to kusiano me ton kusiano 1 cedi. Inti wo kwasa wo koto kusiano wo de wa adwum ne say kusiano e 5 cedis e na wo kwa akoto. Inti wo duru say wo koto kusia 5 cedis no e no ka da bi sisi amate so 1 cedi. We ni beji say hey kusiano e 5 cedi sisi e 1 cedi. Oh me da say. Ba wo beto no ka tell say emom twen kusiano e 1 cedi de. Nanso ansa na wo beto no me the charge 1 cedi e sanso to so. Inti tresa upe kusia ba kwa instead of 5 cedis no. Na nke bia ye 1 cedi. Na nso me sanso de 1 cedi atoso. Inti enda wo beto kusia ba kwa eye 2 cedis. Inti minister na asema wo kan say still you are saving money. Because first now to kusia ne 5 cedis. And the kusia ne 1 cedi de. Na nso wo beto a meje o charge 1 cedi aka ho. Inti meji 2 cedis. Still we save 3 cedis. Due to me management pa me dia ba mama kusia no ne bo aba form no. Inti minister no, the statement I will make no, that is the explanation. What you say? And send your matrix mu atre no. So what dream ho probably you might say well, it is sort of making some sense. What the minister is saying is making some sense. I hope you understand, right? Okay. It was say the levy will serve as a dedicated source of funding to the energy sector, and the proceeds will be earmarked for the procurement of liquid fuel for power generation, given that the current electricity tariff paid by consumers does not include the cost of fuel used for power generation. It's not trying. Dear ye this can be ye de tikane so. Na fan go ananka first yankoto a eye ebo ebeta dagana for so ebe ma ye electricity bill akos through by 50% no. Ye de sika we en ebeto nti eno kra be save Ghana for emma electricity bill en cost through by 50%. The decision to increase the levy on petroleum prices is based on the need to find a balance between ensuring stable power supply while promoting the financial sustainability of the sector. Also, the bill that seeks to amend the schedule to Act 1135 to increase the energy sector shortfall and debt repayment levy to augment the energy sector support account and ensure the availability of fuel for backup generation. Intino, now, what church and same so? And church I mean so media ban me sure say what here. Now, obviously, I've told you the problems I have with this thing, and they say, you see, this explanation a minister no ediabano. E kamen kwa nanka answer na wo mo be parliament akwa pass sambra no nanka mo mbra bonti metri mu sei magana fonti ase. Because in Tracia media mouse is here no. You understand what is going on. And you understand, say, if the minister says, Ghanaians are not really going to feel the impact. He is saying so because Kosiano first, now me turn the 5 cities. It is the 5 cities cause me koto Kosiano, and then there see me 2 cities are. Say, me feel impact no. Because first, now me turn the 5. And then there, ebi ayate so about 1 city. Now so me call no, say what is so about 1 city there, but me the mintia 1 city in Kaho. Even though I am paying more than the 1 city, no, I'm still not going to feel the impact because I'm used to buying it at 5 cities. It is all kind of say no hunti yen feel impact. I understand him. But the explanations. E kamen kwa nanka answer number pass no 1 week. Nanko mun tretre mu magana for na Ghana for ni nanti ase. You hu ni say oh ade we kra no. Say it will not even look as terrible as that. Senya nkrofo can say bone senya ende Bawumia can say hey ade we kra say ni no. It will not even look as terrible as that. We will come to Bawumia semwa wakano. But you see, I wanted you to understand, or I want you to understand what is at play, what we are talking about. Before I beba Bawumia insem so you see whether the Bawumia war no o twa Ghana for ntro and I said the because Bawumia understands what's going on. So for me, that is my problem. The explanation. Aside the explanations too, another thing they said, the truth of the matter, they say, see, look at the oil. The crude oil, right? Let's look at the crude oil. The truth of the matter, they say, Ghana for, we don't control the market, the price of crude oil. You see, and things like this, no, they are very simple. For people who trade commodities, who trade some enyama way on the charts, no. It's very simple. As so above, right? As above, so below. As below, so above. Whatever goes up comes down. Whatever comes down goes up. That is what the chart is. It's as simple as that. Listen, we can go as far back as 2009. We can go as far back as 2009. How many years? No. 2009. How many years? You can go as far back as 20 years ago, which is 2005. You realize one thing on the chart. Ekosro na ba form. Inti wo ha any 2005 chart no any, right? 20 years ago. Chart ne kosro price of oil ekosro could do 147. Inti from 2005 to 2008 ekosro could do 147. Area and a bar from as below, so above. As the chart goes up, it will come down. A drew hurry and a bar from and a bar 34. From 34, Sanso cause into 34 no from 2008 no or bar 34 in 2009. From 2009 no and no Sanso cause Rubium in 2011. From 2011, and also ba form biom in 2016. From 2016, I say 2020 or ba form kra, but 2016 no or sanso kosro biom 2018. 2018, 2 years later, and oba form no, and afe 2022 or kosro. Into washa from 2018 no osro 2020 and oba form 2020 alko 2022 and okosro and 2024 waba form. So the next year, the next 2 years, ebetumi akosro biom. So the fact of the matter ne say sisia de ewo form, but surprise no esanso kosra. That is when Ghanaians are really going to feel the effect of Dumsor levy. Because we don't control the markets when it comes to oil, fango markets no any. Obikacho say we'll trade oil, crude oil la. This is the market, and na make sure no say green red are that is the chart for fango. And Ghana for yen control, and ye control the international market price of fango no. We don't have any control over it. But so far, send your material no, up and down. That is how every single chart is. Everything that goes up will come down. Everything that comes down will go up. And so for people who want to invest in things like this, it's as simple as that. Obetwen eba form one, no wato. No watching 2 years, 3 years, a kosra no wato, no wenya usika. If you want to trade things like this, no, it's as simple as that. Inti twenya eba form one, no wato. Twenya kosra no wato. Twenya eba form no wato. Just say unya patience, you can trade these things and make a lot of money out of it. But this is the market for oil. Iti ende say wo form one. Even if it will take 4 years, whatever. But normally, me year analysis normally intervals in 2 years. It's not say there's a possibility say next year ebe kosro. Right? There's a possibility krampo say still ebe sanso aba form. Because listen, if I'm may draw from 20 years ago, if me say may draw event saying a range from 20 years ago to see the type of range it has been trading in. This is the range it has been trading in. So yes, I can tell you for sure, say it is looking like a beba form more to around the 30. Okay? Because social range from 20 years ago has been trading in this range. Okay? Eba bebo range we are now kosro e kana atiase e kosro na e kan we are. Let me extend this zone. Nti ekosro na ekana na ayede asanso aba form eba form na ebo na asanso akosro sisi akosro abono. Nti likely no, it looks like it is coming down. Okay, around 30, around the 30 area. Okay, nti well, the way it is coming down, and not as a Ghana for crano. Asanso so benya enije more because eba form no, not as a full price no still a better more. If the dollar is even and that's the case dollar ne krana baby or maintain that level ne krana. Ye maintain dollar no that level krana. The full price likely will come to 30, and it looks like Ghana for you better them more. It is a minister ne say based on that. Okay, yen feel bibia. Indeed, if I read the charts, okay, if I read the chart and I see where from 20 years ago where the oil price is coming to. Yes, indeed, we are not going to feel anything because oil no it looks like it's going to drop more. The price of oil, maybe in the next 2 years, might even go down lower, more. By half. It is a price, no, eba form, and there you turn 12, and you do one see the account better than 13. Price never form further. Never be do by 6 cedis. Say a liter, 6 cedis. Still, it is one cedi. 1 cedi levy on it. Inti still na no yenti hwe. Inti that side minister ne kan no kware. But if the price decides to go up later in life, Ghana for even 10 years time, surprise the share say kosra, that is when we are going to feel the effect of it. Or if the cedi decides to depreciate against the dollar, cedi na ho no eso tia, and also ye be feel effect because cedi na ho so tia. Not dollar no, not petrol no, it was the same level krana. Still, Ghana for Yebebre because seed in yesesa e de $1 and ye de kokoto fango. So sesa no de $1 ko toba na ne boye dia or de 2 Ghana for so. So you understand? So I understand at all forcing, I understand what they are saying. In fact, the truth of the matter they say, sa we ya wo mo pese wo mo di tua ekei. See you see a dream one. Me, the thing is that I am just because it is the idea of more tax, you know, me support it. But you see a dream one, it is it's a brilliant way of paying our energy sector debt. And then also making sure say Ghana your electricity and cost through by 50%. I'm not going to lie, it is a brilliant way. Just that it is more tax. And no one wants more tax. So I don't support the fact that more tax, but I see a dream one year can acquire. It is an extremely brilliant way. Especially during the times that we are in this country, when if you look at the charts, it looks like the price of oil will come down further, right? If you look at the chart, it looks like the price of oil will come down further, and then it also looks like say the cedi will also gain more strength. No, this is a brilliant way because you are not going to feel any effect, but so because ye giant is an and shemua. Well, ye dollar no, you get the strength you bear way, but it can still a better. And I think say this is a brilliant way of dealing with that legacy debt na a war no. I think I've explained this, Mr. Remo. I hope say we'll be out here with every single thing I've done at this point, explanation and media banner. I hope say every single person has understood Dumsor levy. We are not going to do say normal and for and the levy say. I want you to understand it properly from my perspective, especially from someone who understands the price of oil and the dollar and all those things, the price, how the prices are moving on the charts and all those things. No, I hope you understand, Mr. Remo. So want you see throw comment box demo. So what you see throw say melodies. Thank you, I have understood. So it is a brilliant way. But I have problems with it, and I've told you my problem. On share some video now. What's it? I've told you my problems. At yes, that is that. Now, Yanko Bawumia so. Me catch him say me read His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and his statements. Waka on this. Now, yen read in someone His Excellency John Dramani Mahama what they are to ya. Ye read ya na yako Bawumia so. With this understanding, no. Now we will go to Bawumia's statement and you'll see whether Bawumia is being honest or not. So I wanted you to know whether Bawumia was being honest. That's why I explained the tax to you like a layman. Now I say President Mahama has this to say on the ESLA increase. It's His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and Samuel Wakani. As the growing energy sector liabilities constitute the greatest existential threat to fiscal consolidation and macroeconomic stability. Our energy sector carries a debt burden of over $3.1 billion with an estimated $1.8 billion more required to finance fuel. Procurement for uninterrupted thermal power generation in the coming months. If left unaddressed, this situation significantly threatens national productivity and industrial growth. While we have devised a strategy to liquidate this debt and stanch the bleeding in the power sector, we must take advantage of recent gains created by appreciation in the value of our currency to accelerate the solution to our energy sector challenges. Now, this reminds me, it looks like that is why His Excellency John Dramani Mahama told Ghanaians say by 2026, now the power sector debt no will cheer BBA. It now makes sense. I saw a story like that last week. Me read the idea when eba me tinimon fancheme. Sometimes stories be bana me search atremu say eyana microphone pe. But normally if I do that, not to say whilst I was reading no, and as I didn't know occur to me. Me ba or say Mahama assures debt settlement of IPPs by 2026. I think there was something like that. I stand to be corrected. So this is it. Or say energy sector debt to be settled by early 2026. Et therefore, So now, you know, somewhere last month, so story now make no. Intima kaisa story no. Because somewhere last month, Mahama can't say same way no. Now Crawford some more can say na Mahama wojina so awode ka say same way. Because na Ghana fo nim plan na Mahama wo de ka say obe settle energy sector debt no. For me, Emra wa can say same way. I was thinking say or the city's performance ne because na ekano in dollars. It is yema city neighbor former ebe me ekano so atekra. What you say? So me, I was thinking, say, sir, but everything coming together, no, it is making me realize the brilliance behind this whole plan. But then again, the problem was the explanation. NDC4, nankamun treatrim, mudiamu to me tremuka, mudiamu who me melodies. Hey, we better say, hey, over NDC4, who moon treatrimukrana, mumbe who me melodies, nankamin tremu say in Ghana for eh? Because aside everything else, I'm not going to make there a tax. I've said it and I'll say it again. Tax there and yet, but aside everything else, Massa, the truth of the matter is that it is a brilliant idea. I be to me you so I had best settle a car, a daho. President Ekufuor mo car wa babe boato hono. Say a brilliant idea. So now it makes sense that last month His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was telling us, say by 2026, now a car at that energy sector, no, now we cheer. Everything is making sense now. Now you get my point. Now let's go back to Felix Ofosu-Kwakye. Monfanchame say I had to divert, but let's go back to Felix Ofosu-Kwakye. If left unaddressed, this situation significantly threatens national productivity and industrial growth. While we have devised a strategy to liquidate this debt and staunch the bleeding in the power, it is so. Mahama and someone can say, "Ye was strategy I debate yakano." It is as someone who can in the man kai. Say statement we will make here. Now we have seen the full strategy, and it is a brilliant one. I am going to say it and I'll say it again. It is a brilliant one. I say, while we have devised a strategy to liquidate this debt and staunch the bleeding in the power in the power sector, we must take advantage of recent gains created by appreciation in the value of our currency to accelerate the solution to our energy sector challenges. Parliament yesterday approved an amendment to the Energy Sector Levies Act under a certificate of urgency, introducing a GH1 CD increase. In the Energy Sector Recovery Levy, this decision, though difficult, is necessary and justifiable. The additional revenue projected at 5.7 billion annually will be strictly ring-fenced to pay down legacy energy debts, finance ongoing fuel purchases, and avert the risk of recurring power shortages. Funds from this levy will not be subject to the hazards of the consolidated fund. It will be regularly audited and the audit report made public to ensure its transparency. Okay, fair enough. Osi say sike ya yebeji, yenkoye ne te say kukwasa ye magana fo hu so. Publicly, yebe audit na Ghana fo hu sika no de ye. Cool, no problem. But you see, then again, how is it that we weren't told earlier? Asemen kredi. Oh, me and this ifwe Mohammed. Oh, Mohammed. Mohammed. That's the win in the MELODIES na me better now cause okay, let me come and explain to Ghana for me. I just say Ghana for we bro muti ekra. Mu kra nim say say adwen a eye behind sa Dumsor levy ekra say net. But send this for mon trim ade no mu. Na gidibo send ya mokoye ade no kra gidi mokoye no. Obi betina se adwen hu say ase mu de adwen fi bi na kwakoye sa ade. But in actual sense no, see yetena se ne ye ka ade ho a ase ade no a brilliant idea. Because now His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is telling us that they will be transparent, there will be this, there will be that, there's a plan, there's this. Everything is sort of making sense. Now I'm sounding like I'm just repeating myself, but what you say? I say, while initially, much of this revenue would go into purchase of fuel to ensure stable supply of electricity, with the ongoing developments in the upstream sector, we expect to receive more gas from our Eni Sankofa and Jubilee and 10 fields. With also the assurance of additional gas through the WAGP, we expect to substantially reduce the use of liquid fuels in our energy mix. At that stage, the resources generated by the increased levy will be channeled to pay down accumulated legacy debts in the power sector. With the recent gains in macro stability and strengthening of Ghana cedi, the levy is not expected to result in immediate fuel price increases at the pump. And then a matrix mono. Say recent gains ni nyama no and emma petrol ne bo enkosro. Onze no matrix mo what ya say enti no no. We are fully aware of the burden this will place on households and businesses, but I want to assure Ghanaians that this decision was not taken lightly. Furthermore, the government will continue working to reduce systematic inefficiencies in energy procurement and distribution while enhancing targeted social interventions for vulnerable populations. Listen, if you are listening to me and at this point you still don't understand this, then I don't know. But I hope, say, I have explained this new Dumsor levy to you. So what to say MPP ni bi e de yes kwanchen propaganda na video we Internet America say share the video, this video, share it for every single person to understand what is going on, because the truth of the matter is say the ordinary Ghanaian is not understanding it from this perspective. And I don't blame the ordinary Ghanaian. I don't blame even me. It wasn't that the NDC gave me information. It was based on my own understanding of the market, how the markets work, the oil market and the Ghana cedi market, based on my understanding on all those things. No? And I'm doing trade. So a lot of people are not understanding it from this point. But I hope, say, explanation we know. What would hear me? Obeti asiye ye hunu say adie no asa adwempa bi taachiri. Now, yenko Bawumia. Bawumia yobia. De bia ya na meka. Bawumia yobia, he understands the economy. Sa chart here enyama we amaba be ya me read ya tremu yi. Bawumia understands these things. He understands how the markets move, the economy and all those. Bawumia te sa nyama we ni na ase. And so if someone like Bawumia de nyama bi say ye propaganda, na me personally no me ya. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. Okay, I didn't cry and ya won. Anyway, but send ya make no. If someone like Bawumia used to BBC as propaganda, if you get someone like Bawumia using things like this as propaganda, na personally no. Me ya. Personally, na me ya. Because Bawumia knows better. He knows these things are explanation where me. Now let's go to Bawumia and let's see how Bawumia is using this as propaganda. Or say Bawumia slams NDC, says they've told a lie by introducing Dumsor levy after removing e-levy. Yankin kind. As a former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has criticized the NDC government for introducing a new tax after campaigning against e-levy and eventually scrapping it, calling on Ghanaians to brace themselves for more taxes. Si Bawumia se mo katre Ghana for Ghana for. He say taxes de mo be chia the NDC for aye taxes ni de si mo be chia o and de mo nhya mo ho den mo be chia taxes ma. Bawumia se mo wa sha se kan no. Was speaking in Cape Coast at the end of his nationwide thank you tour in the central region, he accused the NDC of campaigning on deceptive promises and acting contrary to what they told Ghanaians during the 2024 election. Me say, for people who didn't watch Senate Talks Politics, the explanation I gave, I'm going to give that same explanation here. So what to say? Sa tax ya be MPP for kasa fa ho a. Me say MPP for no si omu hu. Now didn't you make us no? Let me explain so you understand. When the same explanation I gave on that platform, I'm giving that same explanation here. Akwa yes say. Ye ni na yeti o currenti fie, o currenti e dan. Wa ko fie bi mo say o currenti. Na o currenti no obi no what team ni pakwa no what team de dada no we tu efri ho ekọ. Na we move akọ fie nim e dan ni mu ama wa kwa currenti. Na u move ko fie nim no obi anim say u move ko fie foforo mu a e ka ne nyama bi a obeti anti usika sem ko form kakra. Afe we move akọ fie nim why ye bibia renovation bibia wo fie ho osika sem akofom ote ho a ECG fo aba se wo mu betwa wo kan ne mu die nti a nipa kra na odi kan ete ho no emra na ote ho nyina no wentua electricity bill ti ende ECG fo se omo de inform ho una ote ho nti wo na wo se wutua unso tena ase hu se ECG fo du mekania de ende metiatio pasi ebedu mekania ehuro dabi nti unso si kasa eho na oka se wo ebusuanfo wo dofo nti uko webusuanfo so ene wo ndofo so sorry adofo webusuanfo ne wadofo so ati ase ondofo de uko webusuanfo ne wadofo so ena okwasere wo mo se mesrel se mo ampe busuan bi amoa me mo ampe sika bi amoa me a ECG fo bedu mekania ene webusuanfo ni na se okay omo gigi sika ma na de akwakotua na ye gigi sika ma na de akwakotua no nipa kria no woti fie ho a wama wo waboka no ono nam ene wo ka tre nkrofo say wo ye scam. That is exactly what Bawumia is doing. Wonya bema wo de wo twantro wo ye scam wo twantro wonya bema ono a wode kan to ho a wentua na wodwane ko ye no a wo waba betinemu no anane mbra so a yetu no a wo waba betinemu no ono wo tia kan wo de adwen pesika efru nkrofo ho de etia aka no nsem a wo ka no se nipa kro no de na de be no unsi ni hu onye hypocrite. That is what Bawumia is doing. That is what the MPP are doing, acting as if said they had no role to play in this. But you see, the MPP send America no every single day the type of politics in MPP for you will chrome no every single day they are exposing themselves. Every single day, the type of politics in an MPP force on Beye will chrome hano. Or more expose you on expose you on Wankasa followers. They are letting Ghanaians know, say, they don't have any respect for their followers. Because if sa explanation when in a media brewa what sin someone see, who got to say MPP ni be at the idea year politics are. A chief for unseen who? And you antron watcher. Is that not what Bawumia is doing? Bawumia say the NDC has told a lot of lies. Everyone sees their lies every day. Last night, I hope you all saw it, they have introduced a Dumsor levy. According to him, the newly introduced levy on fuel is far more costly than the scrapped e-levy. Initially, they said they will scrap e-levy we had introduced, and they've done that. But now, they have introduced the Dumsor levy, and it is 8 times the e-levy now. When you buy 1 liter of petrol, you will pay 1 cedi as tax. Inti Bawumia say, "Sir, Dumsor levy ya be bro e-levy 8 times." It is also a lie. You see, every single thing has pros and cons. E-levy, no. The problem with e-levy is that it was a percentage tax. Inti no send 1,000 cedis you are paying more based on the percentage. Send 100 cedis you are paying based on the percentage. But sir, tax here abe Dumsor levy, and on any percentage tax. And so even if you can find say fuel price no cost krana, you are still going to pay that same 1 cedi. The fuel price no cost from krana, you are still going to pay that 1 cedi. It has pros and cons. It is all the country Ghana for say 8 times more than e-levy. It is a lie. Oh boy. I say Dr. Bawumia compared the 2 levies to demonstrate the heavier burden of the new tax. I say if you pay 1,000 cedis worth of fuel, you will pay 83 cedis as tax with the e-levy. If you sent 1,000 cedis to someone, you would pay 10 cedis. But under them, for 1,000 cedis worth of fuel, you will pay 83 cedis. So you see what Bawumia is doing. But you see, sa 83 cedis here workers say what fuel 1,000 cedis a would tax 83 cedis no. It is even less expensive than the fuel we were paying without tax from more MPP mo era. Why? Because more era no na ebia sa 1,000 cedis no. Na nke ebetumi ama wo wenya liter of fuel ebia 1,000 cedis no betumi ama wenya liter of fuel ebia 6. More time no MPP for time no. Sorry, 60. Maybe as 1,000 cedis, no betumi ama wenya liter of fuel, maybe a 60. But NDC 4 time, even with the tax, Sa 1,000 cedis na wo say ye tax 83 cedis ne kra no. Sa 1,000 cedis ne betumi ama ye nya liter of fuel ebia 70 or 80 even with the tax. Even with the tax in NDC era, Ghana ni no onya more fuel than more MPP more time. And Bawumia understands this. But politics. Senior Mekano, I hope every single person listening has understood. But see, he also warned Ghanaians to expect even more taxes under the current administration, and more is yet to come. By the time we get to 2028, Ghanaians will see that they have truly lied to us. Dr. Bawumia expressed confidence that Ghanaians will eventually call on the MPP to return to power. I believe that by then, they will ask us to come back and govern Ghana properly, he added. The Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapo, has defended the newly approved 1 cedi petroleum levy, stating that this is the right time to impose it, as it is a prudent fiscal intervention necessary to stabilize the country's energy sector. Media, I have said it. Maka media, me de minsema to ya. Obia wetie mi biano, me the evidence at trail. Emma, no kwaine nyamie nimni. I have told you, it is a brilliant way, especially during the times where the price of oil is falling, during the times where the cedi is gaining strength. It is extremely brilliant to introduce something like this so that Ghanaians will not feel the impact. And at the end of the day, it will sort of settle a yeka. At ya say, yen feel impact no. But at the end of the day, e best settle a kabia edaho na ma energy sector nenso ayeden e grew. A brilliant idea. It is about the explanation. And this if to me and trade one trend for and then semwaba. But we NDC communicator na utie me a me assure say me bie weni so e was our tax way. Me bie weni was our tax way so. You can go around and educate people. All Ghanaians need education on this tax. What you say? Then again, I'll say, no one is happy to pay new taxes. I am not happy. I'm paying additional tax. I'm not happy I'm paying new taxes. But you need to know the truth of every single thing. What you say? No. Montreal mo adwen e comment box ni mo. Me da say.